Let's see, we are officially recording to the cloud. So welcome everybody. Madeline, do you want to take it away?
Sure. Go ahead. So welcome. Hopefully you are here because you're interested in clean energy and home electrification, and probably you live in Ohio. We're Electrify Central Ohio, and tonight we're talking about renewable energy options in the state, particularly for folks who maybe for a variety of reasons, home solar may not be the best option at this point in time, or this home. And we wanted to give some information of what else is out there, because home solar is great. We're fans, but it is not always for everyone in every place. And so we want to let folks know what else they might do if they're interested in getting access to carbon-free energy. So Andy, you want to go to the next slide? Okay, so for those of you who have not been in one of our presentations before or aren't familiar with our whole concept, just wanted to do a quick review of the whole premise for Electrify Central Ohio, which is carbon-free electricity at home. If you can get that, which is what we'll talk about more tonight, and you can get all your home energy usage, or as much as possible, powered by that carbon-free electricity, then you can in fact do a lot to reduce your climate footprint. And we want to help you with that. That's what we're here for. So when I say carbon-free electricity, what do I mean? And I should say some people call it low carbon electricity, because obviously no resource is ever 100% carbon-free. But I think for our purposes, we're talking about resources that can generate electricity once they're built without putting out greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. So there's 5, one with an asterisk, I guess, or brackets in this case. So the traditional ones: solar, wind, hydroelectric, nuclear, which I know not everyone is sort of lumps in with renewable resources, but certainly does not generate greenhouse gases, no combustion. So we're adding it in here. And then biomass is the one that we've got in brackets. And that's just because there's an ongoing conversation, I would say, about whether biomass electricity generation should truly be considered carbon-free. It depends a lot on what your feedstock is and what you're using to generate electricity. So it's definitely counted in some situations. Some people say no, but we're putting it in here just for completeness and awareness. All right, next slide. Okay, so when you're looking at switching over to carbon-free electricity, there's 3 key considerations that we wanted to highlight. So with my excellent PowerPoint skills, I have tried to sort of rank these a little bit by the size of the circle, but they're all important. I think, the number 1 consideration is really, are you getting off fossil fuels and are onto carbon-free electricity? That's the ideal state, where you're making a complete switch from one to the other. And we'll talk more about how that might work depending on which route you take to carbon-free electricity. Additionality. So this is the idea of, are you helping new carbon-free resources get on the electrical grid, as opposed to paying to access clean energy from resources that are already out there? Those are important too, and the way they get built and stay operating is by being able to count on revenue from folks who are interested in buying carbon-free electricity. But the more we have, the better. And so for some folks, additionality is really important to say, I'm helping get us further along in that pathway to a clean grid. And last but not least, type of energy, as we just talked about. some people have different preferences about, is it solar? Is it wind? Is it nuclear? Is it biomass? For a variety of reasons that may have nothing to do with the actual carbon footprint of the resource. But for some folks, you want to put your hard-earned money towards the resources that you think are the best. And so that's something to keep an eye on. Next slide. Okay, so now we get to the part that is actually about Ohio. And one of the great things about Ohio is that we do have a range of options that you might not have in other places to try to get to that carbon-free electricity. So one is we are what's called a deregulated or a shopping state, where you have a traditional monopoly electric company that runs the wires to your house, but you don't have to get your electricity from them. You can buy it from someone else. And so that's one way where you can say, yeah, I don't want just sort of that default electric supply. I want to see what else is out there and go buy from what's sometimes called a retail supplier or retail marketer on my own. We also have in Ohio, again, not something you find everywhere, something called community aggregation or governmental aggregation, which is similar to shopping as an individual, except it's your local government that does it. And so that's something that in Ohio can be authorized through a vote at the ballot box for your local community. And if it gets a majority vote, then your city or township or county or whoever can go out and shop on behalf of all the folks who live there. That can be for residential. It can also be for small business. And that is most commonly done on an opt-out basis. So if it happens, if they go out and say, okay, we've got a contract with the supplier, and then you get a chance to say, nope, don't want to do that. I want to do my own thing. But otherwise, you'll end up going along with your community, and that can be good for a number of reasons. But the basic premise of it is that it's people power. The more folks you have, the bigger your purchasing power, the better deal you can get. There is, of course, home solar. That's wonderful. You get your very own renewable supply right on your roof or on your property or wherever it may be. And that's if you're in Ohio with what's called an investor-owned utility, as in not a municipal utility, not a rural co-op, then we have a pretty good net metering arrangement where you can even get paid extra for generating more than you use and sending it out on the grid. And last but not least, for folks who are sort of like, well, none of those three are necessarily a good fit, we did want to highlight that the grid, the default electricity supply in our region, is making this transition slowly but surely on its own. And so it may be that you're not going to go out and try to get ahead of that, but you might, this is again part of our premise, you might say, you know what, I know that my electricity supply is getting cleaner and cleaner every year. And so I want to get off natural gas, I want to get off a gas car and move to that electricity supply, because that will naturally move you towards cleaner energy powering your life. So those are the four big ones, and we're going to talk a little more about the nuts and bolts of this. So since we can shop in the state of Ohio, the state government doesn't want to send people out into the wild, wild west to do that. And so there is a state website where you can look at the offers that are out there and actually sort through them. And Andy, I'm going to try to take over and share my screen to help us navigate a little bit through that, just to show folks how it works. All right, are we seeing the website now?
Yes.
Live and in person? Okay. So it's pretty simple, and I'm just going to run through it real quick just to flag a few things that as you might go through it, you can think about how to get your best arrangement for your own purposes. So we've got the website in the presentation, but it's energychoice.ohio.gov, also called the Apples to Apples website. And if you're shopping for electricity, you pick that option. And presuming you're residential, this also works for small businesses or even large businesses. You choose your utility. I'm going to pick American Electric Power, which is mine, and probably most of ours. Okay, so item number one that I want to flag is this price to compare. So that is what you pay for your electricity supply if you do not shop, if you do not choose to get that from someone else. Then AEP will provide your electricity supply. They're like the backstop, the default. And whenever you come here, you can see what you're currently paying, which is about 11 cents a kilowatt hour. Part of the reason we're doing this presentation is because that price has been going up. And so people are interested in what other options are out there. And while they're looking, we hope that they'll be looking for clean energy options. So that's why we're here tonight. And just to put that in context real quick, you know, all these numbers get thrown around and it's like, okay, what does that actually mean on my bill? And I recommend that you actually look at your bill so you have a good sense, because there's a range of usage and prices and all those things. But just for a little bit of a level setting, so for a single family home in Ohio, very roughly, the average usage a month is about 1,000 kilowatt hours. Again, very rough. Then you may be below that, you may be above it. Just totally depends on where you live and what you have going on energy wise. But that means if you're around there, that means that a 1 cent difference in that kilowatt hour price is going to be a difference of $10 a month. So that just gives you the sense of, okay, if I'm paying 8 cents a kilowatt hour instead of 11 cents, I might save $30 a month. Because all these numbers, really when they matter is, what is your budget? What can you afford? What are you looking to pay? And so I think that's the thing to key in on, is to try to translate that into, okay, what does this mean for my monthly bill? Okay, so when you're looking at options, so it's a pretty good website in a lot of ways. So one is that you can pick, what do you want in terms of renewable content? And you can pick whatever you want, but for tonight, we're going to go with all the way up to 100%, those top tier clean energy options. And that will pull out for you the ones that are, the 100% renewables or below, but they should all be 100%, because if you're looking for that, they know you probably want all clean power. And then I just want to highlight a few things that are important to look at. So these are all like private companies that will sell you power, and their name will show up on your bill. And so, of course, you're going to care about how much they're going to charge you. So there's a price per kilowatt hour. And that's going to be just, how much do you want to pay? How much can you afford to pay? How much do you think this is worth? That's pretty simple. We've all shopped for other things, so shopping for energy is not that different. But some of the things that, besides the price, that are important to look at, the rate type. So variable means it can change every month. You might be signing up for 4.89 cents per kilowatt hour, but next month that might be up to 11 cents. And so some people want to sort of play the market, I guess I'll put it, or go for that low price and see if they can stick with it. But some folks don't want to be checking every month to make sure they're getting the best deal. And so for those folks, you might want the fixed price. And if it's a fixed price, then you'll want to see just how long is that fixed for. So let's say every Earth Day, I go shopping for my electricity to get clean energy for the year. And so I want a 12-month fixed price. So I know what I'm going to pay for that year. And so that's where you can find that. Generally, you can get anywhere from 0 to 36 months. It usually doesn't go beyond 36 months because that's when no one's quite sure what the market will do. And so they don't want to guarantee it out that far. The other piece is there an early termination fee? So the thing that Andy and I will never tell you is that, something's guaranteed to save you money or, the prices will be locked in forever. Because the energy markets are volatile, whether you're talking about brown energy or green energy or whatever the case may be. And so it's really something that, depending on your budget tolerance, you may just need to keep an eye on to make sure that you're doing something that's affordable and that's what you want. And part of that is having the flexibility to find different deals if market conditions change. And for that purpose, you really want to know if you're going to have to pay to exit early on a contract. This is a contract, pure and simple, just like, buying a car or, paying to weatherize your home. Sorry, I use only analogies that are relevant to us. But for example, this one is, a 12-month fixed contract, but if you want to get out of that early, there's $100 termination fee. So that might be something you want to keep in mind if you're not sure you want to actually keep that for 12 months. They'll also provide information on whether there's a monthly fee and also whether it's a promotional offer. And just to translate that into English, that means, is it a teaser rate? Is their rate going to come in this one, 4.99 cents per kilowatt hour, discounted for first month billing cycle? That means it's going to go up after that. So that's important just because you want to make sure that you know what you're signing up for. If it's going to go up later, how much could it go up? It just depends. So this website in general, we could spend a long time out here, but I won't. I would just say this is a great place to just sort through on a level playing field and see what is out there. If you're going to sign up for anything, you of course want to actually go to the company website, and you'll have to do that to sign up and check out everything. Some other things to think about are, is it Ohio Renewable? Some offers will sort of guarantee you that you're paying for local, state, regional renewable energy, but they might, they might have promotions, like you get a discount on a smart thermostat at their store. There's all kinds of other pieces that you'll want to check out. So that is just a place to navigate all that and get you started if this is the route you're going. But let's go ahead back to the slideshow, if we can do that, Andy. There we go. All right. So that's shopping as your own lonesome household. And then there's another option beyond that. So what I just showed you, the apples to apples website, that is if you want one-stop, quote unquote, one-stop shopping. You want someone to get you your electricity, make sure it's green, and have that all done by one company. You don't have to do that. You could go out there and just shop for, and not worry about the green energy piece of it, and just shop for the best price, shop for the company that has the best customer service. There's many other ways to choose your electricity supplier. And if you want to do that, that doesn't mean you can't have quote unquote green energy. Because when we talk about buying clean energy, green energy, renewable energy, what people are actually usually referring to is something called renewable energy credits. which is no one's selling you like a green electron, because you can't like stamp an electron green and sell that specific electron. They all mix together on the wires on the grid. And so really what we're dealing with is just an agreement by everyone that if you have, let's say, a solar farm and they're selling their electrons as electricity, they are separately sell or can separately sell something called a renewable energy credit, which is really just a guarantee that they have generated that electron from a renewable or clean energy resource. And that's like a separate source of revenue and a separate product that they're selling out there. And so you can buy that separately, which really just means that you're paying a little bit of extra money to some kind of renewable energy resource for them to promise that they are generating electrons in a clean way, and they are selling that clean renewable attribute to you and only to you. And there's all kinds of tracking systems and contracts in place to guarantee that, and auditing and verification. And you can go buy that totally separately from your electric supply. And Andy does this. Andy, do you want to talk a little bit about what you do, just to give a little color to it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to share my screen real quick, or at least share another window. So this is the page that Madeline was just talking about. So when I go into the Green E website, I can put in that I want to search for residential renewable energy certificates. Sometimes they're called credits, sometimes they're called certificates in the state of Ohio, which might not mean it's the AEP zone, but if it's certificates, it's generally available everywhere. And there's a few options. Notice that this option comes up, which showed up in the apples to apples comparison. So
hey, Andy, I'm not getting the screen, the website. I don't know if anyone else is.
Yeah, I just noticed it said that it was, maybe I tried to move it while I was talking about it. Is it, oh, weird. I need to resume my share, I think. So I'm going to move this to the other window. Let's try this one more time. Okay.
There you go.
I think
yep, that's showing up. Thanks.
Awesome. It doesn't like my main monitor today, and I don't know why, but it's all good. So this is the website that Madeline was just talking about. You might find an option like AEP Energy, which was an option on the Apples to Apples site. But if you go totally alone, I have found one, for instance, is Bonneville Environmental Foundation. I've got the tab right here. So I just have on my electricity bill, I have AEP Ohio, which is our default supplier in most of Central Ohio. Now, I just pay that bill, but I keep track of my kilowatt hour usage. I've got solar on the roof, but it doesn't account for all of the energy that we use in my house. So anything that I have to pay from the grid, I keep track of how much that is. As we've electrified our home more and more, it's quite a bit. We're up to like 7,000 kilowatt hours a year. So that translates to an amount that I want to get deemed renewable. So all I'm doing is buying specifically the renewable energy certificates. So if you go into their site, you can calculate and offset your footprint. This is the place that I've chosen. It's the Bonneville Environmental Foundation, as I mentioned. And you can do some sort of offset or REC purchase for your home. They have a few different kinds of things. So you could do carbon offsets, or you can buy renewable energy certificates. Now, an REC is one certificate represents 1 megawatt hour or 1,000 kilowatt hours. So for every 1,000 kilowatt hours I use, I buy one REC. It's $15, which translates to 1.5 cents per kilowatt hour. But at least I can keep track of it. I don't have to switch my generator through the utility bill, I can just keep track of it separately, and it works essentially the same way. I'm sorry, my video keeps cutting in and out. I don't know why that's doing that in this setup today, but anyway, I hope you can all still hear me and see the screen share. So I'll do a one-time purchase, and I have a separate spreadsheet where I keep track of everything that I've done. I can just say, all right, let's say I'll add 6 RECs for the year, and I can go to my cart, check out. I have a login here, and they even have invoices that I can download so that I can keep track of everything that I've done, and it stays with that particular company. Will I change one day? I might. I just noticed, I hadn't looked on the Apples to Apples site in a while, but I just noticed that the AEP energy is it's cheaper than it's been in a while. So I'd actually be saving money if I had gone with them and some of the other options. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I know that RECs can be a little bit complicated to think about sometimes. Maybe we can talk about that more when we get to the Q&A. Want me to go back to the PowerPoint?
Sure, go for it. And I should say, and Andy and I talked about this beforehand, that we recommend the Greenie website as sort of a directory, because Greenie do like the certifying of the RECs and have a really robust auditing system, and you can trust basically that they're real. But not all of those links actually work anymore. So I know Andy has had good luck with Bonneville Environmental Foundation, and there are other folks or other companies that do just sell standalone RECs. Some of them don't, just because I think it's not part of their business model anymore. But definitely worth checking that out as one way to do that in a way that you can trust you're getting what you're paying. Okay. We would be remiss if we did not cover government aggregation, because it is actually, could be for most, if not all of you, a viable way to get clean energy. So as I said, this is basically your local government going out and doing bulk buying of electricity for you. And you have to live in a community that has authorized that, and also where the local government is actually pursuing that actively. Some places have authorized it. It's been around for, like almost 15-ish years in Ohio, and some of them had it and have gone off it. But this is a list from the State Public Utilities Commission website of communities that have it authorized. I have it a question mark for Grandview Heights, because Andy is working on this. They are going to be voting on it next month as to whether they're going to go forward with that option. So maybe sometime soon. And then Westerville is a bit of an odd duck, just because they are not formally community government aggregation. They're actually their own municipal utility, separate from AEP Ohio. And so if you live in Westerville, then you get your electricity from the city of Westerville, and they're in charge of your clean energy options. So I wanted to make sure to point that out for folks who might be there. But otherwise, if you're on this list, it means that your local government at least has the option to go out and see if they can get you a good deal on electricity. And I will flag that not all of them are looking for carbon-free electricity. For some of them, that's part of the reason to do it. And in general government aggregation, the concept behind it is you and I going out and shopping on our own are probably not going to be able to get as good a deal or access the same type of expertise through maybe like a third-party consultant or a broker that some of these folks can. And so if you live in a place that has this option, I think it's just worth checking out of, is it better than individual shopping? It might not be. It might be better. It might be way better if, for example, like your local government is actually using that purchasing power to help support like local solar or something like that, that you know is going to be displacing that fossil fuels on the grid, instead of just, you know, buying maybe these renewable energy credits from like a wind farm in Oklahoma, which is still good, but doesn't mean that you're not getting your electricity from natural gas or coal in Ohio. So that's out there. It's worth checking out. We are generally not like a political advocacy group, but the one thing I will say is if you're interested in that option, talk to your city council, talk to your mayor. If you have an aggregation, but it's not, there's no renewables option, talk to them about it. I think, you know, I truly appreciate that in Ohio we have the option of choice. And so, you know, it's good to be able to exercise that choice and have all those options laid out. And as I said, usually these are done on an opt-out basis, where if that's not what you want, you don't have to participate. It's totally up to you. All right. Let's move on. Home solar. All right, Andy, do you want to cover this as our resident home solar expert?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of shared expertise on solar in this Zoom room right now. So many of us do have solar. If that is an option for you, if you don't have solar and want to add some, or if you have, or sorry, if you don't want solar and want to get some, and if you have solar and want to add some, there are some really great options. I have a whole other presentation on that that takes a half hour. I've got a Zoom, not a Zoom, like a YouTube link if anyone's interested, that I've given in the past from the recording. A few things have changed, but I'll probably be doing another one pretty soon, but I'm not the only one. We have representatives from Solar United Neighbors. So Mariah is here. Hi, Mariah, who also gives very high quality presentations on doing this. And so there's a few resources. One is Solar United Neighbors, which we love, and they do a number of things. They're a citizen-driven group. They're a nonprofit that promotes rooftop, not just rooftop, but residential-owned solar. They advocate for solar-friendly legislation. They played an important role in changing laws about HOA rules that prevent solar in certain spots in Ohio. So if you have an HOA, it's easier to get solar now than it used to be. They run solar open houses. They do solar co-op buying groups, so you can enter a co-op to collectively negotiate for a good rate through a reputable installer. And there's always co-ops going on, and much more. They're currently busy advocating for community solar at the state level. So there's advocacy and also information from Solar United Neighbors. We haven't talked about community solar, but maybe we'll get there. And Energy Sage is a website that I have found extremely useful as a knowledge base. There's like information about different installers there, but as a knowledge base, it has such good detail about every question you might have about solar. When I'm interested in finding a new installer, I go and I look on solarreviews.com. I've got to say, as somebody who's a scientist, I don't like how they calculate the star rating. It's really weird, but if you go and read the reviews and all the individual reviews, you can sort of aggregate the star ratings on your own. And they're very valuable to see what people actually say about different installers. So we can provide direct links to find the reviews and get around. There are things that sort of channel you to get an estimate on that website, but you can get specifically to the contractor reviews. We have lots of neighbors and friends. Part of Electrify Central Ohio is to talk about our own experiences. I only put my name here and Andy because, like I said, I've gone around giving a bunch of presentations about how to do this and tried to make it as comprehensive as possible. And I just like consulting with people as a neutral party. So I've talked to over a dozen people recently who have been looking to go solar, looked at the estimates that they've gotten, tried to see if the production will match what the estimate says, what the prices look like, if they're reasonable, and so on. So I'm a resource for anyone here who's thinking about it. And so is Mariah.
Right.
Okay.
And I will say, we didn't have a slide on it just because it's an ever-evolving situation. But Andy mentioned community solar, which is basically, let's say, you're a renter and you can't put solar panels on your roof. Community solar is like a legal mechanism to say, hey, instead of paying for solar panels on my roof, I'm going to buy a piece of a solar farm like 5 miles down the road, or somewhere close to you where that's part of your local energy supply, but it doesn't necessarily have to be at your home. That is a legal mechanism that we don't have in Ohio right now. But if you check out the Solar United Neighbors, thank you, Mariah, for putting that in the chat. If you check out their Ohio website, then you'll see that right now the Ohio legislature is looking at a bill that would authorize that, House Bill 197, I believe. And Solar United Neighbors, I know, is active on that. If you wanted to get involved and know which, who's your representative or senator to call, and if you're interested in that, especially because, it's a chance to invest in clean energy that currently is not accessible to a lot of people in Ohio. So definitely something that would be great to have among the many options out there. But if that and none of the other things we have talked about will work for you, or just not for you right now, but you're still interested in clean energy, then here is the sort of like reassuring pat on the back that it's still okay. And if you focus on other things for now, getting an EV, switching off natural gas, then you're still headed in the right direction. And that's because our electric grid is getting cleaner every day. And this is a bit of an eye chart here, but it's really just to show that this is an analysis by the entity that runs our regional grid, not just Ohio, but the whole Midwest, really. And they look at this stuff all the time because it's their job to manage all these resources and make sure they're working properly and we don't have blackouts and all those important things. And so they track very closely what is happening in terms of energy resources in the region. And so this is their forecast pretty much for what's happening over about the next 10 years. That base case, so this is from last year, that base case right there, if you can't read it, has us at about a third nuclear in the region, which is, a pretty good start on carbon-free energy. But then another about 60% of natural gas and coal. So fossil fuels, that's generating greenhouse gases. And then the remainder is various forms of a lot renewables or other types of generation. So some of it, tiny part is oil, but wind, solar, the sort of things that you might think about as renewable. But then what they've done is forecast looking ahead based on how things are going now, what they see being built, what policies are in place to incentivize clean energy. This is really a changing picture. So just based on policies today, you can see that natural gas and coal piece is going to shrink over the next several years from 60% down to 50%. And if we really get going in this Excel means accelerated scenario, then we can get those down to under 40%, which means that just by the natural evolution of our grid over the next several years, going out to about 2035, your fossil fuel percentage of your electricity supply, if you do nothing on all the stuff we've been talking about, is going to turn into probably half some kind of source of carbon-free energy, maybe more. Some of this is sort of predates some of the federal policy that's really pushing on those renewable energy resources. So the point of this is look at all your options, but even if those options aren't going to work for you right now, it's still probably going to put you in the right direction if you're moving from fossil fuels to electricity, because that electricity is getting greener. All right. Next slide. Okay, so that was all about clean energy, but of course we want to, that's not the only piece of the puzzle. We have the different pieces coming together. And so what we want to see you do and help support you in is getting that access to clean energy, putting that together with electrification and using that clean energy for as much of your home energy use and transportation as you can. Our number one thing that we always tell people on that front is make a plan. All of these things are not something generally that you say, okay, tomorrow I'm going to switch all this. It takes a little bit of thinking about what are your options, budgeting, all those fun things. That is what me and Andy are here for, I promise you. But we want, the best thing that you can do is just say, okay, I am going to think about and make a plan for some part of reducing my carbon footprint. Whether it's looking ahead, like in 3 years, I think we'll probably get a new car. And so we should figure out if we want an EV and get EV charging, whether it's saying, okay, my air conditioning unit is 10 years old and it probably won't last that much longer. And so I should get someone in here to look at my HVAC and figure out if I can switch to a heat pump to have electric heating and cooling all at once and get rid of a natural gas furnace, all those things. And really move into that electric realm and off fossil fuels. And we hope as part of that, if you run into questions, whatever they might be, that you'll come to us. That really is why Andy and I got all this organized, is because we know a lot of folks are out there who want to do this, but not all of you should have to become electricity experts or HVAC experts or car experts or all those things. And we want to be able to connect you with answers and resources to help you along the way. So yeah, look us up, electrifycentralohio.org. And we have left a good 10 minutes for Q&A. Hopefully that's enough, but if not, here's all the ways to find us for more going forward. And with that, I think we can probably stop recording and just talk.